Hi Alfredo, nice to meet you. My name is Vanessa and I'll be completing your substance abuse evaluation today. Before we get started, I have a couple forms of you I'd like to go over with you. Here are the forms. I will also be using my laptop to document everything and make sure I have everything correctly, and if you need to repeat yourself, just let me know. Okay. And the form I just handed you is an intake form. This just collects some basic information like your name, age, contact information, emergency contact, and the reason you were referred today. Since you've already completed it, I'm just going to quickly review it to make sure everything looks correctly. Thank you. I see that your referral is court ordered following a DWI. You're 18 years old and you're currently living with your mom and younger sister. Does all of that look correct?
Yes.
Great, thank you so much. The second document is an informed consent form. This explains the purpose of today's evaluation, your confidentiality rights, and the limits of confidentiality. Generally, what we discuss is confidential. However, there are exceptions, such as if someone is at medium risk of harming themselves or someone else, or if there is suspected abuse of a child, elderly person, or a vulnerable adult. This is very standard in most practices, and this is just making sure that no one is in harm's way or you are not a danger to yourself either. This is a classroom role play, but we're treating it like a real evaluation for practice. If you're comfortable moving forward, could you please sign here indicating you understand the information and agree to participate?
Okay.
Thank you. Do you have any questions before we begin?
Not really.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Perfect. I'd like to start off by getting to know you a little better. Can you tell me about yourself?
So I'm 18. I just graduated high school and I'm going to university right now. I grew up with a single mom, or basically because my mom and my dad had a divorce when I was 10, and since then he's left my life. I also have a 14-year-old sister, but we're not really that cool. I currently work part-time at a tire store place. Other than that, I'm pretty quiet, and I just kind of stick to myself, especially when I was at school and at work. That's it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing that information about yourself. Everything seems great after looking at your consent form and everything. So I also just wanted to discuss how you are doing today. Like, how are you feeling about being here today?
I feel a little uncomfortable. I mean, obviously I put myself into the situation and I know I have to be here. I'm personally just waiting for the time to end so I can walk out of here. But yeah, I just feel very uncomfortable.
Is there anything I can do to make you feel more comfortable? Do I need to change the lights? Would you prefer some music? Or, a lot of the things we are discussing today are very personal. So if you would like me to look away while you discuss everything, I would be happy to do so.
No, not as of right now. I'll tell you if anything happens.
Okay, well, thank you. Then we can continue on. How about, were you nervous coming in today?
Yes, I was a little nervous and ashamed.
Well, there's nothing to be ashamed of. That's what we're here for, is for us to grow. What were your expectations before today? Have you known anything about court-mandated therapy?
No, I didn't even know it was a thing. So I didn't have any expectations. I was just expecting to talk about everything and stuff.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. How would you describe yourself as a person? I know you did say shy and quiet, but are there any other key things that stand out? Like, is there anything you personally like to do? What makes you feel comfortable? What makes you feel the most about yourself? Just anything.
I don't know. Are you asking me about positive or negative traits about myself?
Anything you feel comfortable sharing.
I guess I'll start positively. Like I said earlier, I'm pretty quiet and try to stick to myself person type of guy. Whenever I'm alone, I like to, just play video games. I was in sports when I was younger. I like to go to work. I like my coworkers there. But negatively, I am embarrassed of what I did or what I've been doing the past few years. I think they've really affected everyone around me, my relationships with my family especially, and I'm scared about my future. I feel like there's a lot of pressure upon myself, and I feel like I'm only making it worse for myself. Um, but yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I know it must have not been easy, so I do really appreciate your honesty, and I'm sorry that all does sound very difficult. To continue on, if I asked your friends to describe you, what do you think they would say?
I think they would say what I said until the stuff that I tend to do comes up, and then they would start talking negatively about me. Not as in like, oh, they hate me, but as in like a, they're very worried about me, and especially how I act on certain substances, and they for sure see that.
Would you say they're more focused on your well-being instead of your character traits?
I don't understand that question.
Well, you said a lot of it, you think they would more come to you to ask, like, that you said you're embarrassed. Do you think like, their opinion really affects you?
Yes, I think it does. I don't want to be perceived as, a really weird or like really bad person in society.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. What else do you like to do when you're not working or in school?
I don't know. I don't really do much. I feel like I talk to people on social media. I feel like I do things that are bad for my health by myself. I've always grown up kind of isolated. But yeah.
Well, thank you for being brave and sharing that. Well, and to be on a lighter note, what's something you're proud of about yourself?
I guess getting into college.
Okay, no, awesome milestone. I definitely think that should be celebrated. Okay, can you tell me what brought you in today?
I was arrested a couple weeks ago. I was off Xanax, and I thought I was okay to drive my car, but I guess, a cop was nearby and saw that I was not driving well and pulled me over. He obviously saw my symptoms and took me to the station and drug tested me, and I failed. I then went to court, and this was one of my things I had to do to kind of help me for the future.
Well, I'm glad to hear that at least you were safe throughout the whole process. Can you walk me through what happened that day?
Yeah, so I just got off a shift, or I was planning to get off my shift. It was around like 10 p.m. And I took the pill because I was like, okay, it's gonna hit a little later, so when I get home, I can just go to sleep and have a calm night. But I ended up having to stay a little extra at work, and because they asked me to, and I had to. And so after that, I was like, okay, home is only like a 15-minute drive, so I was like, I think I should be okay. So I got in my car, I did everything I had to, but then I was pulled over in the middle of it.
Okay, and do you have any recollection about that night, or is some memories kind of blocked out?
I remember taking it, and after that, I remember working a little bit, and then everything kind of feels like a blur since then. I do obviously remember, getting hit with everything, arriving to the station, arriving with all the bright lights, getting my photo taken, and kind of like coming into the recollection of sobering up with everything.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. Did you have the Xanax on you, or was it given to you by like a coworker?
I always have some on me. I had some on me. I always had like a stash at my house, and I would always bring some a little bit in a backpack.
Okay. And did you plan on driving that night after it was taken? I'm assuming so, since you were at work and you thought you would get home and safely.
Yes.
Okay. What happened after the officer pulled over? Was there any resistance to the arrest, or were you very compliant?
I don't really remember. I can't really recall what I did. I'm assuming I was very compliant because I don't remember resisting, or I wasn't charged with resisting, which I'm really grateful for. I'm assuming I was probably just really scared. I was probably thinking about my future and was like, let me just understand and go with it, and hopefully everything will be okay.
So, what I've collected here is a lot of your thoughts were focused on your future. What do you have planned for your future?
I don't know. I think I have a lot of like personal issues. I tend to see my mom struggle. She does have 2 jobs, trying to support me and my little sister. So I guess just trying to get a job that will retire my mother. I want to make sure I live in a world where she's okay, and that I'm able to sustain my family.
Well, I really admire your supportiveness of your family member and wanting to take care of them. I think that is a very awesome characteristic to have. How did your family react to your arrest?
I don't know. I think my mom was very in shock because she didn't know about this. I think she was really scared for me. I think it was a very like wake up call for her, and I think it really put a strain on our relationship. You know, it's like having the talks aren't the same anymore. I tend to shut myself off, and I feel like whenever she talks to me, she just feels like she did something wrong in her life to make me. Um, so yeah, I feel like it really affected us. And for my sister, you know, obviously she sees me go through this, and it was making her really like emotional, and she would cry nonstop, you know, with everything happening.
Well, that was something very heavy to get off your chest, and I'm feeling very grateful that you are being very comfortable to continue talking. Would you like to take a water break, or are you good to continue?
I'm good to continue.
All right, thank you so much. Now, looking back specifically on that night, what stands out to you the most?
Um, I don't know. What am I supposed to talk about here? Like, I don't. To me, this was very like casual to me. You know, I've always done this. I've always been able to get away with it. I felt nothing really wrong with my actions.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Now we're going to continue on and talk about more of your substance history. I do see here on the paper you filled out, you did go more into depth about all the substances that you have taken. So if you feel comfortable, I would like to ask you some questions about it.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
It does say nicotine, so tell me about the first time you vaped.
Yeah, so it was in I just started high school, and you know, I was just hanging around with certain people, and they had a little vape, so I was like, you want to give it a try? I was like, why not? You know, I was like, I don't think it would do anything harm, like, you know. So then I of course I did it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's pretty cool. It gives you like a little rush. It's pretty satisfying. But you know, eventually I would be able to get away with it a couple times. You know, just hit it a couple times, and you know, be able to stop myself. But it got to the point where eventually I was asking, you know, people who had connections to older people who were able to get it for me, and so eventually I became the person who always had a vape on them.
Okay, and before were you ever interested, or was it more about the crowd you were hanging out around?
I think it's the crowd. You know, I've always been kind of like took myself. You know, I've always been like school focused. I guess I just kind of struggled with the fact of feeling like I didn't fit into a crowd. So I kind of think that's what started it initially.
Well, that's very heavy, and I really do applaud you for being open and honest about it. Are you still in contact with the person who introduced you to it?
Yeah, but it's only through social media. Never like we hang out constantly.
Okay, and why did you keep doing it? Did you feel a need, or were you liking the effects of it?
I think I did like the effects in the beginning. It was like I said earlier, it was a nice rush you would get, and it made me very like, I guess you could say, happy. But you know, as it got on, and I would keep doing it. Eventually, it was just the fact that my body needed to do it, and I wouldn't even feel much, and I would go through like withdrawals when I didn't have a vape for like a couple days, and I would go crazy.
Okay, so would you describe yourself as being dependent on it at one point?
Yes, I was. I was. I've been able to stop vaping nicotine, but I think that's because I moved on to other stuff.
Okay, well, I applaud you for trying to quit and quitting. What was the hardest part about stopping vaping?
I think all the side effects you get. You know, like I remember that one week. The first week was the worst. I couldn't sleep. I had the worst sweats. I felt like I was going through panic attacks every hour of the day. I just wanted to end. I just wanted to, I guess, break again. But I was also using other stuff to kind of get over it, which I guess semi helped. But obviously, it led to this.
Okay, well, I really do applaud your courage and strength to stopping it. And from that, since you said you don't vape no more, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We will move on to your next substance that was listed from your form. So next is alcohol. Can you tell me a little bit about your first drink if you have recollection?
Yes, so I was with the same group of friends, and teenagers being teenagers, we got invited to a party, and I decided to go, and it was pretty fun. And obviously, at parties, alcohol go hand in hand, so I didn't really think much of it. I was just drinking to drink because we're at a party. It does help you, kind of. What I enjoyed about it, it does make you feel more confident, more talkative. So I had a good time. I didn't see no harm with it. I would drink beers, I would take shots. It was pretty fun. Other than that, I don't really like doing it that often no more because you do wake up feeling horrible the next day. So I stopped. I kind of don't really do it unless it's a sociable event. But right now I can't really do it because I do get tested. But yeah.
Okay, and since that was your experience with your first drink, do you remember anything happening in your life then, or was it just a normal social event?
Yeah, so I think as I was getting older, I started recognizing the fact that my parents, like my mom, is divorced, and like seeing my mom actually having the collection that she's actually struggling every day, having two jobs, putting them detriment to her health. I guess that kind of hit me hard at the time, and eventually, I would end up having to drink, or I would drink more and more to kind of forget all these stuff, kind of distract myself.
Well, I really do applaud your empathy and sympathy for your mom. I do think that it is very incredible of you. How often do you drink now? You did say mainly at social events, so how often do you attend these social events?
I wouldn't say every weekend. I would say maybe there's 4 weekends in a month, so maybe 2 weekends. Or sometimes my friends will invite like one of them to one of their houses, and we would drink in their backyard. It's something either spontaneous or planned, but never like for sure addiction to it.
Okay. Well, thank you for recognizing your patterns, saying you're not addicted to it, just more, I guess you could say, enjoying life with the people around you.
Yes, but I would say I do get very once I'm drinking, I have to black out.
Okay, and what do you usually drink when you're in these scenarios?
Whatever is readily available. I started when I was, well, I guess I'm still underage, so whatever I have access to.
Mm-hmm. How often would you say you black out? Is it every single time you're drinking, or would you say about 75% of the time?
I would say for the most part.
For the most part, okay. Have you ever regretted drinking?
Just the next day whenever I feel very sick.
Okay, and what do you enjoy about alcohol?
Like I said earlier, I think it makes you very lively, makes you very talkative. It helps you, I guess it helps me socialize more with the people around me.
Okay, and do you dislike anything about it?
Just the way I feel the next day.
And have you ever drunk driven?
Yes.
Okay, and will you say this occurs a lot of the times, or sometimes you get a ride from a friend, or you call an Uber?
Never call an Uber for sure, ride from friends.
Okay, got you. And is that about 50% of the time, or are you more prone to drive yourself?
I'm prone to drive myself if I have the car. If not, I would ask my friends to drive me.
Okay, and when was the last time you had a drink? Was this about a week ago, a month ago, or longer than that?
I would say it was like a month ago before I got arrested.
Okay, and has the arrest made you want to stop drinking?
I have to stop.
Okay.
Trust me.
Okay. Well, since you said your last drink was over a month ago, we will talk about the next substance on your list, which was marijuana. How old were you when you started?
17.
Okay. And how often would you smoke?
Just a few times a month. Mostly with friends.
And you said you smoked with friends, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and what does marijuana do for you? What are your side effects?
I guess it chills me out, keeps me to myself. Sometimes, I guess at first I started it because, I guess my friends were doing it, at the parties and things, or the backyard outings. So I was like, okay, let me join in. and I noticed it does help me. You know, I feel like sometimes I have a lot of pressure on my world, so it helps me relax.
Okay, so compared to the alcohol, you would say this is more of a stress reliever?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think this is something that you eventually would cause problems in your life, or would you say you're more sensitized to this substance that you can take it more in a medical sense for anxiety?
I don't know. I kind of don't really like it a lot. I kind of just do it with my friends. I feel like I can get away with never touching this again.
Okay.
I feel like sometimes I don't like the high. Sometimes I've gotten semi-panic attacks. It's gotten to the point where I can like kind of leech on, not leech. I guess not use the need of it.
Okay. So have you taken it alone, or is it always with someone around?
I never want to take it alone because it does have a strong smell, and I don't want to get caught.
Okay. Well, have you ever tried stopping, or when was the last time you had marijuana?
It's been a while. I guess it got to a point sometimes where I felt like I didn't need to use the drug. So it's been a couple months.
And how often would you do it when it was your prime time to actually, when it was like your heaviest?
Just a few times a month, maybe like, I guess 3 times a week.
Okay.
For the 4 weeks.
Well, thank you for being so honest with me. And lastly, we will be talking about the Xanax, since that was what was in your DWI. So tell me about the first time someone offered it to you.
A friend offered me when I told them about how I've been having a lot of anxiety attacks because of, you know, my issues arising through my family issues and future issues about, you know, pressure. So he told me to, you know, use it occasionally. It helps him, so it should be able to help me. I took it and it did what it did. You know, it helped me relax. It helped me calm down. It also helped me have like one of the best sleeps of my life. But yeah.
Okay. And why did you decide to try it that night? Has it been offered to you before, or was that your first time?
Which night?
The first time you ever tried it.
The first time I ever tried it? No, that was the first time it was offered for me. Like I said, I felt a lot of pressure for my future, so I felt like, you know, something will help me for once, so I decided to try it.
And what did it make you feel like? Was it very euphoric, or was it more to calm down your stress, feel like a weight was lifted off your shoulders?
I think both. I think the weight lifted off my shoulders gave me a euphoria feeling in terms of like I actually I can go on with my day, I can go on with my night, not worrying about things.
Okay, and did you like how it made you feel?
Yes.
And did you ever expect to keep using it after the first time?
Yes. He told me how the guy, my friend, had a really good, I guess you could say, plug. And he told me how he offers really great prices, and I asked for the prices, and I thought it was a good deal, so I bought a couple off him.
Okay, and how often were you taking it after you bought a couple?
It started first, you know, taking it on like weekends or the days I didn't work the next day, you know, where I could kind of have the couple hours to myself. And then eventually, you know, I got more used to the drug. I started taking it 2 or 3 times a week, and it kept going on where eventually I would have to kind of almost need it every day of the week, but or else I kind of would like freak out.
Okay, so you would say your body adjusted to it?
Yes.
Okay, and did you ever mix it with alcohol?
Sometimes. I was scared every time I did because I really would not remember anything. Luckily, I was grateful enough to survive the night and nothing happened to me.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you're okay after these experiences. And did your tolerance ever change?
Yeah, there would be nights where I would take 2 or 3 to kind of go to sleep as fast as I could because I would be having attacks.
Okay, and did you ever experience withdrawal? You did say your body would panic if you didn't have it for a couple of days. So would you say you went through withdrawal?
Yeah, there would be days where I just didn't have any access to them, or I didn't have any money to buy any. That I would have to go with cold sweats, you know, flashes, just freaking out in my head, couldn't be able to sleep the whole night, things like that.
Well, that sounds very difficult. And did you hide any of this drug use from your family?
Yes.
Okay, and did they ever find out, or was it until of your arrest?
Until my arrest.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing all your substance abuse history. That definitely, I'm happy we're able to get that portion out. So we will be talking about your family history now. So tell me about your family growing up.
Um, so, I had, my mom and dad, they were married, or they were married when they had me. But whenever they were 10, when I was 10, sorry, they got divorced. And I also have a 14-year-old little sister. Not really much to it. As I got older, me and my mom, and my mom's always been a busy woman. We couldn't have the best relationship. Even after the ADRS, it's even worse now. So it feels like I could never connect with her. And my sister, I feel like I'm just not the best influence for her. So I kind of want to separate myself from her, because I feel like my mom and my sister deserve someone better to be there for them.
Well, thank you for your honesty. I know that's not very easy to talk about, so I really do applaud you. How was your relationship like with your mom when your dad was still in the picture?
I think because you're at that young age, everything seems like rainbows and sunshines. It was fun. We would play with each other in the backyard. We would go to the playground. It was really fun. I had, we all had a good connection. And I guess after the divorce, my dad did walk away from the picture. So after that, I guess everything kind of went negative for me. I felt a lot of issues arise from that.
Okay, and how is your relationship with her now?
With my mom?
Yes.
Very strained, very, very not okay.
Okay, and when was the last time you spoke to your dad? I know you said your parents got divorced at 10. Did he ever try to have a relationship with you after that, or were you guys by yourselves?
I don't know. There was a long time where we didn't have contact with each other. He recently wished me a happy graduation through a text messaging, but I didn't reply to it. But I don't know. I feel like he tends to wish me happy birthday sometimes, like not every year in a row, but sometimes he does do it. But I don't really feel much towards it. He did separate, so I just kind of never really made a connection with him or tried to.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. That does sound very difficult. And in your childhood, when your parents were still together, was he very involved? Was he a very hands-on father?
I would say semi-yes.
Okay. And did your parents argue?
Not until it was closer to the divorce time.
Okay. Do you think they always argued, or they hid it behind the children's backs just to make sure they're not stressed?
I don't know. I can't answer this question. I feel like maybe they did hide it. I never really heard arguments until around, I was 9 or 9 and 10.
Okay, and how did your family handle stress?
I guess we would just all ignore it or pretend it didn't exist for a couple hours or until we all let it go.
Okay, and was substance used commonly in your home?
My dad would drink, but not like a heavy drinker. He would just drink to drink, how old people tend to drink.
Okay, so would you say he drank once a week, every other few days, once a month?
I would say, on the weekends, to kind of unwind from his job, or if we had like a grill out, he would drink there, but nothing crazy.
Okay, so has anyone in your family struggled with addiction?
Not my direct family, no, but I know my cousins, some do, like their uncles.
Okay, and of any of these uncles or cousins, have any of them received treatment?
No.
Okay. And who are you closest with now? I know you say you live with your mom or sister. Are you close with any of them?
No, I guess not right now. I'm not close with any of them. I kind of just feel like a roommate.
Okay. And who supports you the most after your arrest? Do you feel supported, or do you feel like you're very ashamed and you're kind of left out?
I think I have no one around me that will support me, and so I do feel ashamed. I feel like my mom, she drove me here, but she feels like she's forced to. It's a very quiet ride. My sister, she's not. My mom kind of tends to avoid her from me now because she knows this is not normal.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being honest, and that all sounds very difficult, but I am very glad you are here and that we can work on this. Okay, so since we finished talking about your family history, we will be talking about your school and work. I know you said a lot of your substance abuse came from friends that you have either made at school or work, so we will be diving into that a little bit deeper. So you just graduated. Is there anything you can tell me about when you were in school?
I was an alright student. I think I had pretty good grades. I played sports. When the substance abuse started, I guess you could say a lot of stuff went downhill, but that wasn't because I was, I guess you could say, dumb. I just didn't do the work because I was, too busy doing other stuff.
Okay, and what about, you did say you got accepted to college. Are you currently attending classes?
Yes, but I don't know because of the DWI. I'm scared that my FAFSA will be revoked.
Oh, well, that does sound very stressful. And what you said, you were a good student. Would you say you were top, middle, or like bottom of your class?
Let's say a nice middle.
Okay, and what was your favorite subject?
History.
And then least favorite?
I would say math.
You did say you were involved in sports. Any sport in specific, or was it multiple?
It was just football.
Okay. And then any types of clubs?
No. No clubs.
And where did you meet a lot of your friends? Did you meet them in a class? Was it your teammates from football?
It was teammates.
Okay, and did anxiety ever affect your school?
Yes, but I always have kind of anxiety.
And when did you start feeling this anxiety?
I guess when middle school started.
Was this around the time of the divorce?
Yeah, a couple years. So middle school is like 11, 12, divorce 10.
Okay. And then tell me about your job. You did say you work at a tire shop. Do you like your job?
I do find pleasure in it. Yes, I love helping people, change out the tires. It's kind of fun. It gets into a very flow state job.
And what's the thing you enjoy most about it? You did say flow state, so I'm assuming you like the pattern of it.
Yeah, I do like that. I like, I guess because it's like you have coworkers around you and, we're all doing the same thing. Kind of like, eventually get into the flow state of things and you kind of are able to do your job like so free-handedly or so easily that you can have conversations and have funny times with them.
It seems like you really admire the socialization around you, which I'm very happy to hear about. And has substance use ever affected your work?
I try to avoid things as much as I can. There would be days I do call off though because I am too busy abusing substances.
Okay, so that does go into my next question of how have you ever missed work because of using, and how often have you missed?
I try to do it enough to not get fired. So there was a month where I did do like 2 times a week almost before I did get a written up warning. But now I try to only do it once every 2 weeks if I can.
Okay, and what is your work life now? Are all your managers okay with everything, and how is work?
I did have to tell them what happened after I had no call, no show the next couple days. They did tell me how I'm on very thin ice. They're letting me keep the job for now, but I can't miss any days or I can't do anything. But yeah.
Well, that does sound very difficult, and I do apologize if that's adding more to your plate of stressors. Speaking of okay, so how would you describe your current mental health?
I think very depressive and full of anxiety.
Okay, and when did this depression or anxiety first begin?
Middle school, and it got really worse in high school.
Okay. And what does anxiety feel like for you? Does it feel like a lot of sharp pains in your chest? Is it heavy breathing? Is it sweating? What is it for you?
I don't think it's really physical for me. I think it's pure emotional in the brain. I do think it's like panic attacks in the brain, overly freaking out about the future, overly freaking about what's happening right now, things like that.
And what about the depression? Does it put you in a low mood? Does it feel like you are not able to leave your house?
Yeah, it puts me into a state where I come home sometimes and I do literally nothing. Like I'm not even on my phone, just literally lay on the bed and do nothing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. And what usually triggers this depression and anxiety?
I don't know. I've kind of, I don't know. I guess it's weird to say that I feel like I kind of just grew up with it. It's kind of just a part of me now.
Okay, well, that sounds very difficult. And have you ever spoken to a counselor about any of these symptoms?
No.
And have you ever formally been diagnosed with anything?
No, I do think, everything is undiagnosed, but I for sure have something.
Okay, and have you ever taken prescribed medication?
Not prescribed.
And do you use any coping skills right now to work through this anxiety and depression?
No.
And what usually makes you feel better when you are having these episodes?
Well, it was using substances.
Okay. And does anything make your anxiety worse, or does it make your anxiety worse?
What does?
What makes your anxiety worse? What makes you continue spiraling where you feel like you're having a panic attack?
Oh, definitely just the future. Definitely sometimes even looking at my family and seeing how much of a pressure I have on my shoulders. Just sometimes just being in certain environments where I feel like a lot is dependent on me makes me spiral.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing. And let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly. So right now you're saying you feel like you are having a lot of anxiety and depression, even though it's undiagnosed, and a lot of it comes from thoughts about the future. Okay. Well, next I do want to dive in a little bit more deeper about your DWI and how you feel about it. So how has this affected your family? You did say earlier that you and your mom and your sister, you feel a bit more strained. Do you think this relationship is going to continue to be strained?
Yes, I think it'll never be the same.
Okay, and what about your friend life? Are you still friends with a lot of these friends that you took substances with, or just the people around you?
Yes, I am. I am realizing, they're not the best people, so I am kind of detaching myself slowly. But then I'm kind of scared of having no one in my life.
Okay, and these friends, are they supportive of you trying to resolve your situation, or are they kind of more peer pressuring you to come back to everything?
I wouldn't say peer pressure. I would say it's like a place I can go and like have available sources of everything. If I want to, I can just go with them and do everything without being ashamed of things.
Okay, and what about school? Has this affected your school in any way?
Yeah, like I said, I'm scared I won't be able to afford school because of it, and yeah, right now my grades are low, but I'm trying to fix them up before the semester ends.
Well, I really do admire your determination. And you did say work, your managers know everything that's going on, and they gave you more like of making sure that you can still continue there and be professional as long as you get everything sorted out. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and what about your finances? Did any of the substance usage make your finances go down, go up?
Nothing but down. I do have to use my money to buy drugs, and drugs do get expensive.
And you have talked a lot about your future and your confidence within it. Has anything affected your physical health from everything?
Probably. I don't know. I'm sure if they scan my body, they'll probably see my liver's all messed up. Maybe my brain.
Okay, and looking back, what's the biggest consequence?
Getting arrested.
And is there anything you wish you could change?
Obviously, I obviously wish I never touched anything, but can't really do much now.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being super honest. I will say, do you think you have a substance use problem?
Yes, but I think I could fix it one day.
And why do you believe you do?
Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be right here.
Okay, and what do you hope your future looks like now after the arrest?
Probably after the arrest, so what month? Probably, hopefully, everything gets cleared up and consequences don't affect me so much.
Okay. And if nothing had changed, if the arrest never happened, where do you think you would be in 5 years?
I think I would still be like this, but way more horrible, and probably my whole life would be ruined.
Okay, and let's say Counseling went very well and you're able to change your patterns around. Where do you think you would be in 5 years?
Hopefully graduated and have a stable job.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how motivated are you to do this?
Probably like 6 or 7.
Okay, why that number?
Because I really don't know where my own brain will take me.
Okay, and what would move you to make it 1 point higher?
I think meeting people who have the same goal as me.
Okay, very awesome. So we are closing out on our intake, so I want to summarize everything we've talked about. You did talk about your family where your parents got divorced at age 10 and you currently live with your mom and sister, but this relationship is very strained, but it is something that you want to work on. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you did say you have struggled with anxiety for a very long time, mainly coming from your parents' separation, and how a lot of the time your substance usage was to calm down your anxiety, but you still have a lot of it now when you think about the future.
Yeah.
And your substance use started with nicotine and it escalated to Xanax, and you did use marijuana and alcohol mainly in social situations to connect with your friends. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then your DWI was one day when you were driving home from work. You were swerving and you were tested, and they took you to the station and they gave you court mandated substance abuse testing.
Mm-hmm.
And then your goals out of this would to be to get your future back on track and be able to support your family and have a good stable job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, is there anything important that we haven't talked about today?
Not that I know.
Okay, and do you have any questions for me?
No.
Well, thank you for being honest and sharing your experiences with me today. I know it wasn't easy, but I really do appreciate your honesty and wanting to open up. I think it was a really good step, and I really do appreciate your time.
Okay.